This stage really feels like something where you come out of your box, not where you just step on and talk about all the things you know and you do. But let me ask you a question. Who knows what happened in November 1989?
You're born.
I wish. No, I'm much older than that.
Berlin Wall came.
Yes, the Berlin Wall came down, and that was when I was 11 years old. And any Eastern Europeans in the house? Few of you. Good. You used to be my friends. Everyone else here, if you're English, French, American, you were my enemy. And at that age, I did not really understand what it actually meant living in a communist country. And when it really, really became clear to me was on a normal day in school, and one of my best friends, she came to school and she was wearing an amazing sweater. You know, the American flag with all the stars on and all the stripes on. And after breakfast, in the breakfast break, she was gone. And I had no idea where she was. And then later people told me they sent her home. And I was like, what do you mean they sent her home? And it was all about wearing a sweatshirt of someone we considered the enemy. And things like that still stick to me to this day, that humans can actually create environments and situations where you live somewhere in this communist bubble, and then it just suddenly bursts in November 1989, and suddenly everyone I was meant to hate was now my friend. And that was scary and amazing at the same time, because obviously I would not stand here on this stage in front of you. But if you look at the differences in West Germany, we had West German TV, yeah? All the East Germans, we had West German TV, so we knew all the chocolates you were eating. We knew you had amazing stockings and clothes and everything else we couldn't have. We actually, East Germany was one of the biggest exporters for IKEA. Everything that went well in East Germany was exported. Everything. And when the wall came down, we used to make jokes. When we saw a queue of people queuing, we would say, they're selling bananas. Because in East Germany, you had bananas twice a year. And people were queuing for them. And as Eamon said, I'm running now a speaker training company. And if you think of bananas, they are actually said to have a very calming effect before you go on stage. So whenever you have one of these crazy moments and you get really nervous before speaking, a banana might just do the job. Now, that's not the only amazing thing about bananas. When the wall came down, remember we East Germans and our fetish for bananas? We suddenly had banana-flavored condoms. They outsold every other condom brand known to man in East Germany. It was incredible. And, you know, on some level, it was amazing to grow up there because it was safe, but it was absolutely ridiculous to know, you know, you have been spied on. People knew what you had for breakfast, but no one could predict the wall coming down. And for me personally, this wall, still to this day, I'm not sure what your relationship with it is. You know, obviously everyone comes from a different space and a different place and a different environment and a different community. But that wall represents a lot of the walls we have around us. And are there any Germans in the room? No. Good. Oh, you are.
German shirt.
Okay, well that doesn't count. But you know, we Germans are, and I'm not lying, if the Germans would be here, I'm sure they could confirm that, but we are known to be really serious and really stern. And I loved what you shared, because this is how I grew up. Like for me, sharing your emotions or talking to other people how you feel, you must be kidding. Like that's not what you do. You get on with things, you know, and this voice in your head is just something there you ignore, or I don't know, it's just a really bizarre thing. And how the whole speaking thing started for me was when I moved to London. And it was obviously love, as it always is. And I moved over here, and then realized that there's more to this world than what's going on in our head. You know, when people say, just be yourself, it's like, what does it mean, just be yourself? It's really difficult because there's all this stuff going on here telling us you should be like this, you have to do this, you have to wear this. And then there's all the stuff you want to be, you know, the stuff in your heart. And when I went to my first personal development event here in London, it's called Play to Win. Don't know if anyone knows Clinton Swain, he's crazy. And it was for the first time when I connected with people really heart to heart, when I felt understood. And I'm sure you have had, you know, a situation in your life where you suddenly feel, oh my God, like this is where I belong. Here I can say what I think. And no one will publicly accuse me for it or judge me for it. But judgment is probably the biggest thing. Like anyone here, I don't know what you all do. I know a lot of you, and I can feel and sense that, are really heart-centered entrepreneurs or running a business where you want to help others. You want to make money as well, but part of it, big part of it, is helping others. And there's this whole story about, you know, being open and heart-centered, but also wanting to make money from it. And I feel I've been in business now for 2 years. And I find it is a long, 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 difficult journey to really accept, you know, that we're worth to make money from something we love. It's a scary concept. And it really feels here I'm coming out of my box. So when I started Pony Express, it was simply because I was really scared of judgment and other people judging me. And I still had, you know, when you switch on your confidence shell and you're confident, but you're actually just pretending. So that's what I had, and I found it really exhausting. And then slowly but surely, I found ways to be myself, as I always say. I think one of Oprah's favorite sayings is, when it comes to, you know, connecting with others, you got to fall from your head into your heart. And the whole journey about public speaking is actually not falling in love with public speaking, but it's falling in love with yourself. And I love how you introduced me, that I used to be terrified of speaking. Well, guess what? I still am. And not because you are sitting there in your aprons and knife and fork wanting to eat me. That's what my crazy mind probably thinks. But, you know, under our fleshy armor of protection, we always think all the judgment, all the really, really, the most horrible things we say to ourselves, we think you are all saying them as well. And you might. Or you might not. That's not really the point. I think, you know, here's the thing I really want to leave you with. Like, when I started the speaker training company, I learned all the different speaking techniques. And I think, you know, Warren, you're into speaking, and loads of others are. You know, there are so many like stage anchoring techniques and moments when you raise your hand and, you know, like certain things you do. But all these speaking techniques, they don't really get you into your heart, and they don't really help you connect, not with yourself, not with someone else. They just help you to put on a show. And yes, speaking is about entertaining, but it's also about really, really connecting and being true to yourself. And for me, like, the biggest thing is grounding. Now, how many of you, I'd love you to raise your hand. I'm not going to raise my hand because I'm going to break my arm probably in that cave. How many of you, raise your arm if you have a grounding technique? Something you do on a regular basis. Now, good, nice, I have one too, and I'm going to do this all the time. If you don't have one, I'm just creating a booklet where I featured a lot of people. If you are a speaker or any, you know, crazy awesome person and you have a wacky grounding technique, please speak to me. I'd love to feature you, because this is really something a lot of other people can benefit from. And when it comes to grounding, the one thing that helped me so much to keep stepping in front of people and, you know, like facing this judgment. You might not even judge me. Probably my own worst enemy is myself. You know, that's the crazy person in your head. But my favorite grounding technique is when you imagine your life to be one of these big canvases, you know, like a massive painting, like your masterpiece. And every time you speak, or every time you go somewhere, every time you chat someone up, or every time you meet someone on the tube, or you twinkle to someone, and it's really scary and they might reject you, but it's just a flick of paint on this massive canvas, you know, you're calling your life. This is one of my favorite things, and it helps me all the time. And whatever it is for you, you know, it's just something you keep using, and it just enriches your life so much more. Because the one thing you have to remember, there are 7.3 billion people on this planet. Now, there's no way that at some point in your life, they all gonna love you. Not even Mother Teresa was loved by everyone. So that was me. Thank you very much. I'm assuming you're standing up because my time is up.
Keep going. I want to see the grounding too.
I told you. Look, grounding is something you do in your head. You know, it's nothing you run around with. It's just like, you know, something you make in your head. And for some people, they just imagine if they have like a scary situation, they think, what would Richard Branson do? And that gives them a little bit of boost, you know. Or some people just, this is the most wacky one I know of, they imagine they're oak trees and they're just really grounded and rooted, you know, and you know, being one with earth. Like there's so many things, and if you have one, like this is like probably one of the reasons I feel I'm here tonight is because I want to collect these. I'm just really, really passionate about them because they can just, you know, make your life so much richer and more grounded. And then all the judgment just comes towards you and just fluffs off. And that's me. Thank you so much. Stay grounded, and remember, 7.3 billion people. They're not gonna love you all at once, but I love you. Remember that. Thank you.